Africa, often called the Dark Continent, has been linked to poverty, disease, and war for a long time. Despite having valuable natural resources like oil, diamonds, gold, and minerals, Africa remains one of the poorest continents worldwide. The question of why Africa hasn't achieved economic prosperity yet is complicated, with various factors contributing to its challenges. One significant factor is the lasting impact of colonialism. European powers colonized African countries for centuries, leaving a profound imprint on the continent's economy and development. During this period, Africa's resources were exploited, benefiting the colonial powers while hindering the economic potential of African nations. The arbitrary division of Africa's territories and the lack of regional integration impeded cooperation and hindered economic progress. The transatlantic slave trade, spanning the 16th to 19th centuries, also significantly affected Africa's economic struggles. Millions of Africans were forcibly enslaved and transported to the Americas, resulting in the loss of human capital and disruption of local economies. This trade enriched European colonial powers while leaving Africa with a legacy of inequality and underdevelopment. Another crucial factor is the persistent instability and conflict that have plagued the continent for decades. Civil wars, ethnic conflicts, and political instability have severely undermined economic growth in many African nations. These conflicts have led to refugee crises and humanitarian disasters, draining resources and impeding economic development. Additionally, poor governance and corruption have posed significant challenges for many African countries. Widespread corruption and mismanagement of funds by leaders have hindered economic growth and perpetuated poverty. Corruption erodes public trust in government institutions and discourages investment. The lack of adequate infrastructure and limited access to technology also present major hurdles for African countries. Insufficient road networks, limited electricity access, and unreliable communication systems impede economic growth. The high cost of transportation and logistics due to inadequate infrastructure makes it difficult for African countries to compete globally. The impact of climate change is another concern affecting African countries, particularly in the agricultural sector. Many African nations heavily rely on agriculture for income, but droughts, floods, and extreme weather events threaten food security and economic growth. Global trade policies have also contributed to Africa's economic struggles. Developed countries impose tariffs and subsidies that primarily benefit their own economies, making it challenging for African countries to compete on equal terms. Foreign aid has been both beneficial and controversial, as it sometimes fosters dependency rather than sustainable development. Efforts are underway to address Africa's economic challenges. Some African countries have pursued economic reforms, encouraging investment and reducing corruption. Regional integration initiatives, like the African Continental Free Trade Area, aim to promote trade and cooperation among African nations. International aid and investment have played a role in promoting economic development in Africa, but more sustainable approaches are needed. Developed countries must address trade policies that disadvantage African nations. Sustainable economic development in Africa requires a comprehensive approach that fosters regional integration, reduces corruption, promotes investment, and addresses global trade disparities. In conclusion, Africa's economic struggles are influenced by a variety of factors: the legacy of colonialism, instability and conflict, poor governance and corruption, inadequate infrastructure and technology, the impact of climate change, and global trade policies have all played a part. However, efforts to address these challenges are ongoing, with economic reforms, regional integration, and sustainable development initiatives aiming to promote inclusive and prosperous economies in Africa. Furthermore, it is important to challenge the stereotypes and misconceptions often associated with Africa. The notion of Africa as the Dark Continent perpetuates a negative image that fails to capture the diverse cultures, rich history, and potential for growth and development within the continent. While it is crucial to acknowledge the existing challenges, it is equally important to recognize Africa's resilience, resourcefulness, and the countless success stories that emerge from its nations. To overcome the economic struggles, African countries are focusing on various strategies. One of the key areas of emphasis is human capital development. Governments are investing in education and skills training to equip their populations with the knowledge and expertise needed for a rapidly evolving global economy. By prioritizing education, African nations aim to nurture a skilled workforce capable of driving innovation, entrepreneurship, and sustainable economic growth. Infrastructure development is another critical aspect being addressed. African governments, in collaboration with international partners, are investing in transportation networks, energy systems, and digital connectivity. By improving road, rail, and air infrastructure, African countries aim to facilitate trade, enhance market access, and attract foreign investments. Access to reliable and affordable electricity is crucial for powering industries and stimulating economic activities. Furthermore, bridging the digital divide and expanding internet connectivity are vital for fostering innovation, e-commerce, and digital entrepreneurship. Promoting inclusive economic growth is a priority for many African nations. Governments are implementing policies that support small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, and create an enabling environment for entrepreneurship. By facilitating access to finance, providing business development services, and simplifying regulatory processes, African countries aim to unleash the potential of their vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystems. Entrepreneurship plays a pivotal role in job creation, poverty reduction, and fostering a culture of innovation. In addition to domestic efforts, regional integration is seen as a pathway to economic prosperity. Initiatives like the African Continental Free Trade Area aim to create a single market across the continent, harmonize trade regulations, and boost intra-African trade. By eliminating barriers to trade and promoting economic cooperation, the African Continental Free Trade Area seeks to unlock Africa's enormous market potential, attract investments, and drive economic diversification. Sustainable agriculture and rural development are also key priorities. Given that a significant portion of Africa's population depends on agriculture for their livelihoods, investing in modern agricultural practices, irrigation systems, and climate-smart farming techniques is crucial. Governments and international partners are working together to support farmers, improve productivity, and ensure food security. This includes providing access to finance, agricultural inputs, and training, as well as promoting value addition and market access for agricultural products. It is worth noting that Africa's economic transformation requires not only the efforts of governments, but also the active involvement of the private sector, civil society organizations, and the international community. Partnerships and collaborations that prioritize knowledge sharing, technology transfer, and responsible investment are essential for driving sustainable economic development in Africa. While the road to economic prosperity may still be challenging, Africa is on a trajectory of progress and positive change. The continent's young and dynamic population, coupled with its vast resources and untapped potential, provide a solid foundation for future growth. By addressing the underlying factors that have hindered Africa's economic development and embracing innovative solutions, African countries are positioning themselves for a brighter and more prosperous future. With the right policies, investments, and partnerships, Africa has the potential to emerge as a global economic powerhouse where everyone can benefit and experience economic growth and shared success.